You're listening to Crosstalk, Conversations with Kurtis. Crosstalk, Conversations with Kurtis is brought to you by
Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. With a stellar reputation as an outstanding mortgage lender, Ray Cruz serves the lending needs of real estate professionals, builders, and individual homebuyers in Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Texas, California, Florida, Illinois, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Ray believes that integrity is the cornerstone of his business, and helping you achieve your home financing goals is his business. Located in the heart of Bethesda, Maryland, contact Ray P. Cruz today to get started. Your home mortgage or refinance options await. Call 301-761-2278 or visit raypcruz.com. Ray P. Cruz, mortgages intelligently.
For more than 20 years, I have seen Gene the Barber for my haircuts. I am proud to say that Gene the Barber is now the owner of a new shop, his own shop, Max Life Barber and Salon. Max Life is family friendly with barbers and stylists for men, women, and children. Located at 6859 New Hampshire Avenue in Tacoma Park, Maryland, Max Life Barber and Salon is now the new home of Gene the Barber. Of course, you'll get Gene's signature service, but now Gene has several barbers to choose from. Schedule an appointment today by calling 240-687-7253.
A Squared Home and Office Solutions is the go-to source for home or office network and audio-visual solutions. We can help with smart home integration, wireless networking, media rooms, security systems, and more. We will link technology to your lifestyle seamlessly. Read our reviews online. Visit homeandofficesolutions.com for more info or call 240-356-8832. A Squared Home and Office Solutions. We are home advisor screened and approved.
You're listening to Crosstalk, Conversations with Kurtis. Here's your host, Kurtis Cross.
Welcome to the conversation. This is Conversations with Kurtis. I'm your host, Kurtis Cross, and as always, I'm excited to be here with you today. Today, we are going to get into a great conversation, but first, I want to thank our sponsors. That would be Gene the Barber and A Squared Home and Office Solutions. Ray Cruz at MCF Mortgage is our flagship sponsor, and we hope you decide to support those sponsors of ours. Be sure to connect with me socially at Kurtis Talks on Instagram and Twitter, and of course, go to www.kurtistalks.com. Take a listen to our other podcast, Crosstalk, The Kurtis and Paula Show, a lifestyle, love, and marriage and parenthood podcast. You'll hear all about the day-to-day life of me and Paula. Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill, a local national and sports podcast hosted by me along with Coach Steve Turner and Coach Casey O'Neill. The Midnight Truck Stop and 911 Radio, both of these podcasts are hosted by Big T and the Blue Knight. You'll hear stories, paranormal stories, 911 calls, law enforcement officers, and a host of other interesting guests. All these podcasts can be found on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcast content. Once again, you are listening to Crosstalk, Conversations with Kurtis, and I thank you for joining today's conversation. Listen, I have not been this excited to have a guest in quite some time. He knows the love I have for him, but I need you guys to understand who this guy is. So I'd like to welcome to the conversation, Mr. Miguel Richardson. What's up, Miguel?
What's going on? I'm glad to be here, man. Thank you.
Yes. Now look, Miguel, first and foremost, we know each other. We know this business. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not even going to ask a question. I need you to promise that there'll be a part 2 at some point because we can't get it all in one. Okay. All right. My man. Yeah. We can't do it all in one sitting, right?
That intro, is that Ray from Blair?
Is that who? Oh, Ray Cruz. Yeah, that's Ray from Blair. Yeah.
What's going on, Ray?
Yeah, that's Ray Cruz. He sponsors a couple of our podcasts. Yeah, and you know Steve Turner, of course.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's Ray Cruz. You know Ray Cruz. Come on now.
Shout out to Ray. Yeah.
Absolutely. He's doing well in the mortgage business. Actually, this studio that I'm sitting in is in a home that we bought a couple years ago, and he refinanced this one for us.
Okay, nice. Good, man.
So we don't just talk about it. I mean, we use them as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Folks, y'all don't know who this guy, first of all, everyone who listens to this podcast knows that I'm in the DJ business. I need you guys to understand that the DJ business for me started in 86, and it started by me walking across the street in Silver Spring, Maryland, and going into that guy's basement right there and watching him do things with turntables that I, A, still can't do, but B, was hoping I would be able to do one day. The greatest DJ that I've ever met, and I say that honestly and earnestly, is sitting in front of you on this screen right now. Miguel, talk to me about Compton Street and where this started for you.
You know, me starting off as a DJ, I I don't really like to talk much. I was more of an introvert. So then, me from going from breakdancing and then just being able to be influenced by my cousins to DJing, shout out to Mr. B and Joey Jazz. They sparked me. When I saw them, I was like, oh man, I gotta try this. So then I started, I must have been in like maybe 7th grade.
Right.
I saw my uncle DJing the New Year's parties. So I was like, shout out to Vaughn Carlton. I saw him DJing the New Year's parties, and I was like, I gotta try this. And then once I realized I was good at it, I was like, okay, this is something I can do. Now I only have to talk. So you know what I mean. So that was I started early.
And you never know. As we become adults, Miguel, and parents or grandparents, whatever, wherever we are in life, we realize that you never know who's watching. So I was watching. And you did what you did in that basement. And while I aspired to do some of those things, I think, that's what got me to first see what a DJ does. And when you say you're an introvert, I don't mind saying I'm a big dude now. I was a fat kid then. I wasn't super popular, but I tried to do something I could do, to get the people to like me or whatever, I guess you would say.
Right. I'm the exact same way.
Right. Yeah. Now, I didn't try the whole breakdancing thing. I mean, I tried to do a little pop lock thing, but that wasn't me, So
Right.
So I saw people like you, and I saw people like who were your running buddies? Greg was one of them, but who else? I feel like there was someone else.
Me, Greg, then in the high school was, me, Greg, Kent.
That's right, Kent Davidson, yes.
Yeah, and I was in we had a group in high school. I was the DJ, and I all through high school I was like because I was good at a very young age. So I was like a hired studio DJ, like where if a group they needed scratches for a record they were putting out, then I would, my number got passed around, so I was able to get a little bit of money. Doing a few minutes of work, but I was young, but I was really good at a young age because I studied Jazzy Jeff. Right. So that's
we all know now. All right, for I'm gonna put you on the spot for the first time. New York or Philly? Where are the better DJs coming from?
All right, now okay, there's a debate because as in the '80s, in the '80s, all the Philly DJs, they would kill them. You had DJ Tap Money, Grand Dragon, KD. You had Ace Deuce Detonator from Tough Crew. You had I know I'm forgetting some people. And then when DJ Scratch, he was one of the world champions. But I thought he DJs for EPMD, but I thought he was from Philly. And we used to have arguments. Nah, he's from Philly. No, but no, he's from New York. But Philly at that time was killing it. Right. Every DJ from Philly was. It was rough, man. And DJ Cheese, yeah, yep.
All right. So you watch Jazzy Jeff. I watch Jazzy Jeff, but you were able to do some things with a turntable that these young cats right now can't even do with software.
Right.
And you can do it better manually than they could do with the help of Native Instruments or Motu or any of the software that you and I, look, when you and I did this 30 plus years ago, there was no Native Instruments. There was no Motu. There was no virtual DJ Tractor. There was no Serato, no nothing.
And you know what? You're right, Curtis. And you know what's most important too is there was no sync button.
No, come on now.
There was no sync button. You had to get in there. You had to get that tempo right, and you had to bring it in. There was no sync button.
So what you're doing is you counting beats for 15 seconds, multiplying by 4.
Right. Yep. Yep. Exactly. Between that and just trying to listen, like, well, I think it's about right. Let me check it in the headphones.
Right. Yep. And I feel like now I haven't touched a pair of Technics 1200s in a while, but we're plus minus 8%, right? Or is it 12?
I got to look at the turntable. I think it's minus 8.
Right. I know back in the day it was plus minus 8.
Yeah.
But you were able to do things with a turntable that no one else I ever saw do, at least live and in person. I mean, the guys on TV could do it. The guys that you saw in music videos can do it, but that also could be trick photography. But what you did was you do it Now, even with no headphones, you just feel the groove in the record. You know what you're doing. This is
Right.
a master DJ we're talking about, folks. And for him to be able to call out names, which I'm going to tell you, most of my audience won't even know the names you said because
right.
you are fully engrossed in the music. Like this is,
Right.
you breathe, you walk in stereo. I mean, that's what you do. You know, music
Yeah.
is your thing. So the
Yeah.
journey began on Compton Street. You found yourself making a few dollars here and there because they want to put you in the studio. And we could fast forward, but we're going to get into some more stuff. Now we
Yeah.
both know those few dollars turn into, you know, residual checks. We like that
Right.
now, right? We
Right.
can make a living
Right.
off this.
Right.
And you couldn't have told me that my first $100 gig where I had to split the money at a church fashion show, you know,
Right.
would turn into where we are now. But where did you find your niche? What did you know you were good at that you could do that no one else was doing that people were calling you for? Was it the scratches in the studio? What was it?
Yeah, it was the scratches, and you know, because a lot at that time in the area, you know, in the DC area, there wasn't anybody like that. I mean, I never knew a bunch of people like that, and then you know, I did some work for some people, and then when they gonna know somebody needs some work, they hey, call this guy up, he can do it, you know, and I was good, you know, I was really good. I was really good at a young age, and then you know, once I was like, I mean, I stayed, you know, when you honing your craft. That's
Right.
what you do. You don't socialize. You stay in that room and you doing that till you get it right, day after day, hour after hour. That's what you're doing. You know, I wasn't going outside like that. I was, you know, trying to get these tricks together because I'm seeing these guys on these the DMC World Championships, the
Right.
dance music, and I'm like, man, I gotta get these tricks right. So you know, I was into the tricks for a while, but then I stopped doing the tricks because these guys now like. They're going
ridiculous.
crazy. Yeah. And then, you know, once you start producing, you know, you kind of ease off on a couple things. But yeah, but
These cats are half our age and younger. We got 15-year-olds winning DMC, right?
yeah. You know what? You know what's an interesting story? I saw that Roxanne Shante, when they had the first world battle for world supremacy for rapper,
Right.
she said she won. She beat everybody, but they could not let her win because the press. You can't have the first press say the best rapper in the world is a 15-year-old girl.
Right.
That's what they told her. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, we can't. We got like this person got to win. We can't. It'll look crazy. Like,
Right.
oh, they're not gonna take it seriously because it's a 15-year-old girl is beating everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, you know, you start young, man. You in there.
Well, you lock yourself in there, and I'm going to disagree with you. You didn't do it until you got it right. You did it so you could never get it wrong, because I ain't never seen you get it wrong.
Right. you got to
but
be able
that's
to do it. You got to get it comfortably. Yeah.
Right, but you did it. You got to be able to do it in your sleep. And you, again, I'm gonna keep saying this guy does things and did things with turntables that I ain't never seen nobody do. And I've seen some of your videos in the last year or two where you're just, you know, you're just on there for fun, doing a little live stream real quick. And this guy's doing some things. It's just, I feel like, you won't say it, but it's like, just to let everybody know, I'm still here. I'm still
right.
here.
Yeah.
I ain't
Just
gone nowhere.
in case. Just in case. And
Right.
you know, I didn't have anybody show me anything, but except for one person, and that is DJ K Rock. He's the DJ for MC Light. I mean, everybody's familiar with MC Light. We know he used to take us around in New York back in the early '90s. You know, to shop our demos, and me and him were DJs. So he would like, come on, let me. You know, he would give me a trick to do, and he would leave for the day, come back to his house, and then like, you know, can you do it? So that was like another thing that he was like, pound. He was like, you know, you gotta get it right. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, you know, somewhere along the way that was lost because these young cats, again, and I don't want to sound like we're a bunch of old timers, but these young cats, you lock them in a room and tell them to come up with this. They're on their phone. They're trying to YouTube how to do it and all that.
right.
And you just got to make the mistake and you got to break needles.
Yeah.
You got to do all of that. And so you got to save your money. And I don't know what they cost. I was using Stanton, were they 680s? I can't even remember what the numbers were.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah, I
it the
think that was
680?
it. Yeah, I think that.
You
Yeah.
talk about doing that. My dad, who passed, 11 years ago, he would make fun of me because when I trained DJs, I would train them starting with house music, and I would put CC Peniston finally on one turntable, and CC Peniston finally on the other turntable, and mix them bad boys back and forth until it's seamless all day long. It's 120 beats per minute. I can't make it any easier, right?
right. Just follow, but you're right. That's a good training right there.
Yeah, but you would just sit there
Yeah.
for hours and hours until you can make
Yeah.
CC Peniston finally perfectly. And my dad would just come up the steps. Finally, blah. He would just
Right.
make fun of us because that's all he would hear. Right?
Yeah.
Oh man, but
That's
that was
right.
what we did then. I don't own any turntables anymore. It's all these laptops in my studio and controllers and all of that. But so we have your why. You've seen people do it. You knew you were good at it. You fell in love with it. I fell in love with it. I think for me, it was a matter of, again, I wasn't super popular in all these things, but I got the love and I got the validation when I would DJ and I'm at Webster Hall or I'm at the Palladium or I'm down there with Alonzo's Summer Groove in Miami and the crowd is going crazy. And I learned something from Funkmaster Flex where the song is not making me hot. The DJ's got to make the song hot. You got to know when to drop it. And I taught my daughter, who I'm training now, I think it's over. You got to be a selector. You got to be a selector. You got to curate your music, and you got to be able to know what that crowd wants before they even know they want it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. You're right.
Right.
Yeah.
So now,
absolutely. And
go ahead, please.
oh yeah, I was going to talk about. I mean, the times that we came to your New Year's events. That. That set list and where you were going in and out of them songs, man, was seamless. You know what I'm saying?
When you told that to
Kurtis
me,
is killing this.
You either texted it to me or put it on Facebook. I'm going to tell you, that was probably top 5 moments of my 35-year DJ career is when DJ Mug Love, are we still going by Mug Love?
Yeah.
When DJ Mug Love, told me it was seamless, I knew that for me, that did it for me. Now I've DJed in front of, stars and the presidents and blah, 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 but they don't know my name. They don't know who I am. But when you told me that my mixes were seamless, I treasured seeing that because that means the guy that I looked up to told me, you made it, fella, you made it. So that was very important to me to hear that, even as a 40-something-year-old.
Right. When I heard, I was like, next day I went home, I said, I got it. Kurtis is killing it clean. I said, let me get on here because I haven't DJed no parties and I don't know when, but I still like to mix. But I was like, Kurtis was too clean, man. I got to get on here. Let me tighten up a little bit.
Right.
you maybe I like you had to maybe tighten up. I was like, oh, okay, I got to tighten up. Kurtis is up there talking, switching monitors, taking pictures, still clean. No, you know what I mean? Getting in and out of record when he needs to,
Right.
So,
well, the next thing I learned was from Mr. KRS-One, who's one of my top 5 of all time.
Yeah. Blastmaster.
My thing is this. You don't chase the money. When you master your craft, the money chases you. Right?
It will.
So
absolutely.
We have to master our craft. And we're going to get into that because you got some folks chasing you for all the right reasons. Let me put you on the spot again. Top 5 lyricists of all time.
You know what? I got to go by era.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean? It. So like in the 80s, I'm definitely going to go. I got to go with Big Daddy Kane, Rakim. I'm going with let me see. I'm going with Slick Rick. I'm going with KRS-One. Right. Who else from that time? You got Cool G Rap. These are people whose wordplay and their delivery and stuff is impeccable. And in the 90s, I still hold them in top 5. In the 90s, you can get into Nas, you can get into everybody from Wu-Tang, especially the Genius, or you can get so many people. You can get to Jay-Z, you can go to Big, but there's so many people that are really good. Wise from Poor Righteous Teachers. There's so many people whose wordplay and the delivery and that melody, with their delivery is.
I struggle between Rakim and KRS-One because I will not take away anything from Rakim, but KRS, he educated us. Right. He educated us. But I look at Rakim and I think about, by the way, Time on My Clock is 4:44. That's a Jay-Z album. I look at Rakim's microphone theme, and I look at the fact that there's no chorus in that whole song. He goes from opening bar to the end, and he kills it the entire time. You know? But so what album do you take with you on an island? Only one album you can have for 30 days on that island. What are you taking? I'm taking you'll be surprised at what I'm taking. Believe it or not, even though I'm not even a big fan of this artist, I think The Carnival by Wyclef is one of the tightest albums ever.
Yeah.
You know what? Theory.
Yeah. I can agree. You know, that album is there's so many different styles, so you're not stuck in one mood. So I can see how you would take that to the island.
Right.
Dang, if I was to take one to the island, I gotta think. You made me think because I'm trying to think of something that has different flavors and stuff like that with it that switches up. That would be a good one. Dang.
What was the first hip hop album you fell in love with? Mine was Paid in Full.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if it was anything before then, because I liked, like Houdini and other groups, but I didn't like the way they dressed.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it might have been like Run DMC. Probably, it might have been maybe the first. No, you know what? It might have been the first Run DMC album or the first LL Cool J album, Radio, because
that was a tough album. Boy. That was a tough album.
Because and in the way they dressed, it was I dressed like that. So
Miguel, you had gazelles. You had it all, Miguel. Don't think I forgot. All right.
Yeah. Still
and did we do sweatpants? Did we do sweatpants under the jeans?
You know what? I think during the wintertime you could do that, but I was so skinny at the time I could do it, but I did it a little bit, but I don't mean it was still too much. But yeah.
I don't remember specifically, but I'm sure you had some shell tops, right?
Yeah, always. Yeah, I got some new ones. I got some ones that match my granddaughter. We got these same ones, so yeah, I got some fresh pair.
I've never had a pair of shell tops, but my son has some shell tops. Yes.
Okay, he's on the right path then. Yeah, he's on the right path.
He wants Pumas. We went to the Puma shop. He finally found some Pumas he liked, and guess what? The one on display, they didn't have the match, so he couldn't buy them.
Did he go for the Puma Clydes, the suede ones, the old ones we used to wear back in the day?
I think they actually were, but they didn't have the match. It was out at the at Tanger outlets, by the new casino. Yeah, we were out there. They didn't have them. What keeps you in the biz today?
It's like, you know how it is with us, Kurtis. This is what we do, man. We love the music. We love to be creative. It's just what we do, man. You don't even think about it. It's just like breathing. Creative. When you're creative, you're creative. You don't stop no matter what it is you're doing, whether it's music, you're a painter, anything like that. I love the music. And then now, my daughter makes music now too. So
okay.
Which is another thing. So that's even better. Then of course she wants me to show her how to DJ now too. So I'm in the same boat as you. So, but yeah, she's a producer. She's a songwriter. She's a singer and a rapper. So she just finished up her album. So we're gonna put that out. But yeah,
we're gonna have to put these two young ladies together. Now, how old is she?
She'll be 27 in a couple of days.
All right, well then she knows her way around that studio a little bit better than my daughter would know her way around that studio. My daughter's 13 and she's doing it. She's writing. She's doing it all, and I can't keep her away from it.
Plug that machine up for her. Yeah, she'll be good. I just as a matter of fact, last week we just went over there to set up her studio in her basement. So yeah.
Now you still in Maryland? You in DC? Where are you now?
I live in DC, right down the street from your first job.
My first job. Which job?
Used to work at the McDonald's on South Dakota.
On South Dakota Avenue, yes. How do you remember that?
You told me that a long time ago, man.
Yes, right on South Dakota Avenue. You're absolutely right.
That's right.
And we grew up on Crittenden Street.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm right. I'm on South. I'm right there.
Yeah, we were at 725 Crittenden Street, and then my grandmother's house was, what is that, St. Anselm's Abbey or the school up the street?
That's where I am.
All right. So you go up South Dakota, make the right on either Varnum or Webster, and then make the left on 13th Place. That's where I spent a lot. That's where I started my business, on 13th Place.
Yeah. See,
okay.
I spent
so you in the area?
I spent most of my weekends over in Petworth at my grandparents on right there on Petworth on 7th and Taylor. So,
all right. So let's talk family. Your family supported you. Your mother, your father. I always remember your father, being the kindest, nicest guy. Got to be one of the first people we met when we moved over there to where at the bottom of the hill, Buckingham Drive, with the swimming pool across the street. You had their support, I imagine, right?
Yeah. Mom just thought, hey, make sure you just make some money. If you got these guys coming over here, make sure they're paying you. I'm like, yeah, okay, Mom, no problem. My dad was,
and I'm sure Dad was driving you around, right?
Yeah, for a while. Yeah, making sure I would get picked up. If the guys were hiring me, I'm like, you come pick me up. I'm 15, man.
Right.
I can't drive yet. You know. So.
Well, no, I know that my grandparents drove me around, my dad drove me around, and all
Yeah.
that, and loading up. And look, we're talking about loading up records and heavy speakers. We're not talking about laptops. And hard
See,
drives.
they don't. Yeah, let's talk about that, Curtis. 'Cause these people, you know, we had 2 dollies with 35 crates on them, man.
Right.
You know, the turntables weigh 30 pounds a piece. You got them in
Off
the
the
case,
break.
off
Right.
the break, and you got 20, 25 crates sitting on that dolly, man.
Right.
They don't.
And
There was no
I
hard
go
drive.
to it. And here you go, right here.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it.
Get
Literally
your backpack.
300,000 songs are on this
Yeah.
hard drive right here.
That's
And it's,
exactly right.
I love it. It's convenient because I'm in my 40s.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to carry all those records.
Nah, no, we paid our dues with that.
We did going up steps, nightclubs, the Ritz nightclub,
Yep.
the East Side nightclub, all them
Yeah.
clubs, carrying all them records. But we did that, and you know, I had mine organized. I didn't have them organized in alpha. Mine was alphabetical. I didn't go by BPMs. You know, I just and you got to know what you have, and you got to know where your records are. These days, you just type in, you know, Excursions by Tribe Called Quest, and it comes up on your laptop. No,
Right.
You got to know where it
Yeah.
is.
Yep. You gotta, you know, and a lot of my records I have here, I have like a section of like my old school records as far as the hip hop. You know, you can look at, you know what I'm talking about. This might seem weird to other people, but you can look at the corner of it, the side of it, and you know, okay, I know what record that is just by that little the way it's faded, or the way that you know, the little color. I know, okay, I know what record that is. I'm gonna pull it. You know, you can
Exactly.
visualize
Pull
it. You know what it was. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. You know, I think I found myself, the first stage of me finding myself was when I got a residency at Trax nightclub, and they put me over in the video room where not the big room, but the video room. So that's where I found myself getting into house and getting into techno and getting into rave music. So I was doing that. And then I got picked up for a party called Disco 2000 up in New York. Every Thursday night, I would go up there and do that party. So you talk about being on the turnpike at 4 a.m. trying to come back home, right?
Oh man,
So I did those.
What was that weekly thing like going up, man? I mean, like, you know, because you were taking your records, I know.
Right? Yeah, no, I was
Going
taking
up.
records. And, you know, after, you know, a few months, you know, those records shrunk because I knew what I was going to need that night. You know,
Right,
of course.
yeah.
But it was great. I mean, just to feel like, you know, I started, my first club was Anastasia's in Georgetown. And
I remember
just to be
Anastasia.
able to go up there and know that they would pay you to come up there. And my thought, I remember, was all these DJs between here and New York, and they're calling me. You know, they're calling me.
Yep.
So I felt good about that. So that was, you know, I think that was the first time I recognized that, you know, people will pay for talent. And if they like the sound you're producing or whatever, then they're calling me. So I would do that party for a while. That was my intro into techno parties. And then we got into raves, and I did rave till dawn. I did midnight to noon raves, and I got into that scene. I would go down to, you know, WUST Music Hall. I would do a bunch of raves on 9th and V Street. And then I did some over there by the old Pepsi plant in, that's not New Carrollton, but Riverdale, out that way.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. We did a show over there. It was a real hot box in there, man. It was.
Who you telling, right?
It was.
So I did that, and you know, and now these days for me, as is the case for you, you're producing. You're doing some stuff on the college and university level, and you know, I find myself. I would think the young cats who are really into it would think, "Oh man, you guys are sellouts." No. We're putting food on the table, and you know, I'm not going to say that you or I or the Jordan of DJing, but at the end of his career, Jordan got contracts for stuff he had already done because he paid his dues, right? So now here come the checks for, you know, we paid our dues. I started in '86. When did you start?
I started DJing whatever year. I was like 7th grade, 6th, 7th grade. What year is that? Because 84 was like 9th grade. I was probably like 83 maybe.
82, 83. You were in there. You before me.
82. Yeah.
So you're coming up on 40 years in the business.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. God, man.
I'm coming up on 36. You got me beat, definitely. But, you know, all those records you carried, all of this, hopefully, you know, it's paying off in terms of I still love it. You know, I love this business. I love every opportunity to go rock a party. You know, when I do those New Year's Eve parties or the parties I do, I let myself know I'm not too old for this because people still loving it, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
And so you're producing, and that takes you down a different path.
Absolutely.
You're still with the music, but maybe not as much DJing, you know, not as much turntablism and all that. And by the way, I'm not a mixologist or a turntablist. I'm a DJ. That's what I am.
Right.
I don't accept
Right.
that new word, a turntablist.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, all these
But,
terms. Yeah.
What is the producing like? Tell me about that.
The producing, I started getting into production because, I was a hired DJ, but a lot of times I didn't like the stuff that I was scratching on, The only people, except for shout out to Too Smooth Lynn, I did a lot of work with them, they was like the only ones who I liked, the stuff. So I was like, you know what, I can do, I want to, let me make it how I want to make it, because I don't really like the other stuff other people were doing. So then I started getting into that slowly. I was started DJing. I'm a DJ these parties, so I can go buy this 4-track, so I can start making, try to make these music. So I kept going into that, and then once I was like, you know what? And DJs make like the best producers anyway, because you already have the ear. Right. So I got into that. Then we had a rap group. Started off, in the early '90s, and then we did that all throughout the '90s. We still selling those same records to this day, but we sell them all over the world. But yeah, just doing the production, man, it slowly getting your, the equipment, up. Start off with the 4-track.
Right.
You got the handheld mic, then you eventually try to get a cheap drum machine, a little keyboard. They had the Sensonic drums. You just start elevating. Then like in the '90s, early '90s, I finally had gotten to. I had like an SP1200 and an ASR10 rack mount. So I was good. Then I used that all the way up until like 2000. Then I switched to the Akai MPC 2000 XL, and I used that all the way up until I forgot what year. Whenever Machine came out, because I wanted to be able to dump the tracks directly into the computer without having to do all this extra stuff. I can just dump the wave files into the software. So yeah, the production, man, is we were running around. Up and down, different states performing when it wasn't cool to be from DC and being in a rap group, man. It's not like it is now. People want, they're trying to kill you. They were trying to kill you, it wasn't safe. But we went through all that.
Right. Now you can just put out a track on TikTok and you're famous instantly, right?
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's more, it doesn't take as much time to put out a record. Back then, we had to go to the studio, or we were recording in the basement, get it done up, then send it to disc makers. Then you got to wait 6 to 8 weeks for it to come back.
Right.
Then you got to start. Then you start making that hike with the tapes and the vinyl, going to different states, put them in stores on consignment. It's something when I got to go all the way to New York to pick up $35.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're like, damn, that's less than gas to go up there. But that was what that's what we did. We did.
No,
we did
absolutely.
That.
And and I think that it's a good and bad thing where we are now. And by the way, I'll get back to that. I want the listeners and the viewers to know that each time you talked about a transition in equipment, that was a new learning curve for you. You had to learn that software, or learn this, that, and the other, and make those mistakes again. Probably you shorten the process of the mistake making because you were getting where you want to be. But I think it's a good and bad thing that it's easier than ever to put out a record, because now that means anybody with $1,000 can buy a halfway decent studio or some software. Everyone has a laptop, and now they're a producer, right?
Less than that, depending on what you're using.
You get on Craigslist, you can buy $100 drum machine, right?
Yeah, you can get the stuff used, or you can get the software, for a couple $100. You good. Get you a little MIDI keyboard. Yeah,
and
but
it's, for those who actually have talent. And might not, have the money, they're just starting, they can put out something. But for those who swear that they know what they're doing, they can put something out. And again,
they can put something out.
I think the biggest difference for you and I, if we were to start now versus then, is these young cats have social media. You put out the right track and get the right kind of fire behind you, in 24 hours, you can have 1 million hits, And
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if that does them, I think that does them a disservice, because again, you're driving up 95 paying tolls to get your records where you want your records to be, and you're waiting for disc makers and all that.
Right.
Now, I can put out I can't, but you could come over here, and you and I could have a track inside of an hour, and it could be on YouTube,
Yeah, we put it right up, and then, put it right up on everything, all streaming platforms. Yeah.
So now we're talking about producing. Carnegie Mellon, talk to me.
Yes. Okay, so one of the guys I did music with in the '90s, Demola, they used to go by the Great Deity Da. He's very, very intellectual and very smart person, him and his son. And he sent his son to Carnegie Mellon. He went there. He graduated high school at like maybe 15, and he finished Carnegie Mellon before he was like 18. So they would do these projects called hackathons, and they would get together with the science, technology, engineering, and math students, and they would get sponsorship from like Google and stuff to put these like 24-hour hackathon with come to make an app. And so he invited me up there to do as far as with the music portion of it, to try to teach them about doing music, and you got to add some of these programs you need music for. So I went up there with them, and I had a great time learning from those kids and watch them. And they would sit there for 24 hours and make apps and programs, and then they would of course they would get fed and everything. But they learned so well. Like on a team, you would have somebody who could code, somebody who could do graphics. They would get like in little teams, and they would work together and come out with a finished project and get prizes and stuff from like EA Sports would sponsor, Google. They would have talks with Google, and people were using 3D printers. They were making this one young lady was making the pumps for people who have insulin pumps, but she was making nice cases for them so they look nice on your hip. She was 3D printing them. So then we started with that, and then eventually he came up with a curriculum so for us to teach kids. So then we started going to elementary schools in the DC, Maryland area. Where after school program, we were teaching that we were having the same thing, doing science, technology, engineering, math. We were having graphics because the MOLA, they have a comic series also. So they were doing graphics for comics. The kids, were learning, and then they would make trailers. So I would record them. They would put together their artwork, and then I would have them record the trailers for the characters that are there. So I would do the audio portion, then we put the audio portion inside the program, and it would be 3D. We would use Oculus Rift, if people are familiar with that, the 3D gaming software.
Yeah.
So we were using all that stuff, and so now we are partnering up with Carnegie Mellon. I'm waiting to get my certification back.
Sure.
You have to get when you work with kids, you got to get cleared. So I'm waiting. So now we got to partner with them, and then now I believe MIT is on board. So we have a curriculum. It's kind of like Rosetta Stone. You can go to the website, toyselectronics.com, and it's like you can purchase packages, and you can purchase the package, or if you need one-on-one assistance, you can purchase that too, and I can help, or he can help, his son can help. So we're just doing the STEM, trying to get it to kids who are not normally exposed to it. Once you expose kids to that, they're like, oh man, this is great, because a lot of times things seem so out of reach sometimes for kids or people, but when you're young, you don't know what your limitations are, and it's somebody puts it on you.
Right.
But if you tell them, you can do this. It's not, you don't know that this is hard because you've never done it before. So you don't tell them that. You just let them do it. They can do it. So it's great, bringing that to kids, who, it's so young, but they're talented. You have these kids who are, a lot of them are introverts, but can really draw. One, the other, or it might be, a shy kid, but they have really good story writing abilities. And you put them together, and they, you have these, you got the next tech billionaires right there.
Right.
So,
Miguel,
yeah.
So my thought here is, I didn't know it would take us until this point for me to get to my favorite part of this podcast, but we did, and you just nailed it. What good is the experience that we have? What good is carrying those records at 3:00 in the morning back down the steps in that nightclub if you can't help a young person who's thirsty for it and might not know? What good is it if we can't help these young people out
right
there,
it's so rewarding just to be able to help somebody, especially because we were coming up, you didn't have anybody to show you how to do it. You had to figure it out yourself. Now now they can get help. You can give them pointers, hey, you might want to try this, or might look out for this, or you're able to help them, and something that they can take with for the rest of their life and live. Yeah.
Right. Well, I didn't know that music could be a full-time career. My grandmother always told me way back in the day, but DJing is not a real job. It's not a real job,
Right. Yeah. You're not Donnie Simpson on
right.
Oh,
you talking music video connection? You ain't talking music video connection, Donnie Simpson, are you?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
He's still at the game too. 102.3. He's still doing it.
Yeah, he's not Donnie Simpson. It's Donnie Simpson. He's got the voice. It's Donnie Simpson, man. He's smooth. He's likable. You know what I mean?
Right. So what's
Yep.
next for Miguel then? What's next? Now you and how's the young lady? I mean, I haven't seen her since the New Year's Eve party a year or two ago. Everything is good with her?
Oh yeah, yeah, she's good. She has a business that she runs also for
Okay.
to help victims of domestic violence.
Oh wow.
It's
Okay.
called Sister Speakers, and she does that through the arts.
Well, please,
Whether
how
it
can we
be
find that? If someone
you
needs
can
to
go
hear
to
about that.
it's called Sisters Speaking Serenity, and they type it in. They can find it on Twitter, online or Facebook, and they help people with trying to come through and get out of being in
Transition right
abusive
out of that. Yeah.
situations. Yes, through arts and stuff like that. Yeah.
Now, is she from the area?
Yeah, she's from right here, right here,
Where'd she go to high
right here in
school?
Northeast Roosevelt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I know she's always there, and she like my wife. She has to be patient because when we get to talking, right?
Yeah, she knows what it is. I guess ramble on and on. Yeah.
Right. But that's what. Hopefully,
Yeah.
I've alleviated some of that tonight by us having this. You ain't got to
Right,
take
yeah,
it to her. But she's always been wonderful. And let me tell you, I don't know what y'all are doing, but how many hours do y'all spend picking out outfits before New Year's Eve? Because y'all always look put together. Y'all always look put together.
Her style, she's got a lot of clothes, man. I'm just now starting to catch up. I bought a lot of clothes this year. Haven't worn them anywhere because I haven't been anywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is the first time I worn this. I bought this like in the spring. I haven't been anywhere. You know what I mean? I'm trying to catch up.
Right.
But when it's time to go somewhere, I'll be ready.
Yeah, but she is wonderful, and she's wonderful to accompany you to these events and all of that. But what is next? What is next for Miguel?
Okay, I'm gonna try to drop at least like 5 or 6 EPs or albums in 2022. My daughter, she just finished hers, so we're in the middle of mastering and mixing that. And I'm working on I finished one album from Hellraiser you familiar with Sons of Man? They were a group from Wu-Tang. Yeah, I just did Hellraiser's one of his new albums. It's not out yet. And I'm working on the second one, so I'm just waiting. He has a documentary out too on Amazon called Risen, the story of Sharon Hellraiser Smith. That details his journey from him getting sick and then making his way back to music. So I've done that. I did that, and what else? I'm trying to get my try to land some more placements this year, but I'm just going to put out projects so the placements will come to me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let me tell you something. I realized you mentioned Wu-Tang a time or two, and I was never a huge Wu-Tang fan. And I was running a pretty successful nightclub promotion in Montgomery County called Friday Night Live. We ran it for 300 weeks. I remember we had a
I remember that. Yeah.
And one time, Wu-Tang Clan came to the Montgomery County Fairgrounds. And
okay.
I'm getting ready for my Friday Night Live party. I'm like, we're going to kill it tonight, blah, blah, blah. Ghost. The place was empty. And on that day, I realized that Wu-Tang was at the fairgrounds. And you know what I realized?
Yeah.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to mess with because they are
That's right.
They took my whole crowd. My whole crowd.
Yeah. We used to do shows with them a lot in the early 90s too, man.
I feel like I knew that. Didn't I know that?
Yeah, maybe so. We were heavily at the Ibex whenever like the big shows would come because we had a good stage show. So the guy he would always call us whenever they had a show. I remember our first show there was with the Fugees when the Fugees' first album was out. You know how the Ibex stage is about super small, so the Fugees' instruments took up the whole stage, so we had to perform like on the floor. But we used to run around a lot, up and down, back then. But we weren't a hardcore group. We were more like I'd say a mixture. Earlier, we were like Common or Kanye, we mixed with Farside, but we were always on that gangsters. We was on that gangster circuit, man. It was ridiculous. People were getting
the funny thing
shot.
is, Kent. I feel like Kent is low key, but and by the way,
until he gets on the stage.
Okay, and shout out to Kent because I'm gonna tell you right now, all the events that I did that you kept convincing me to do as well, all of the virtual events I did on Facebook, Kent would always show up.
Yeah.
So look, y'all got to know this. All right. So, the pandemic starts, right? And I secure a couple of domain names because I'm like, this virtual DJ thing might take off, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, it might have been April after the pandemic, a month later. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put together a little virtual event. Let people have a good time. They can't go out. They're at home, so I got a captive audience. I'm going to go ahead and do one gig. It might have been even called for one night only. And all this, see, you shaking your head already.
What did I tell you when you said one night only? I was like, man, y'all said there's no way.
You told me it would not be just one night.
I told you.
You told me this. And then, I gotta eat cheese and text him the next week and say, I think I'm gonna do another one. I told you the people are asking for it. And that was probably 15, 20 virtual events ago, Yeah. That was a while ago. So you kept putting it out there and telling me I was gonna have to do it, huh?
Yeah, I told you. I was like, there's no way. I mean, people, the music was great. You had the whole vibe. People at home. I'm like, they're gonna tune in, and then you have your crowd.
Right. Well, I am not going to give away anything because this is not going to air until after the new year. But I'll tell you first because we just talked about it. I think I'm going to do a New Year's Eve party this year, virtual New Year's Eve.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm going to do it, and I think I'm going to do it free of charge.
Okay, yeah, we'll probably get dressed up and be for that and be in the living room.
I'm going to do a Zoom. And I think I'm going to give open access because I have not DJed a live set, in front of people. I mean, I've done my weddings and stuff this year, blah, blah, blah. But I'm pretty sure we are 99% sure we're going to do a New Year's Eve joint, probably like from 11:30 to 1 or 11 to 1, give a couple hours set.
Yeah.
We're going to do a little tribe. We're going to do a little new stuff, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to open it up and do a Zoom and just have open access. I'll probably put out a flyer or something. And, whoever shows up,
That's what it's gonna be good. That's a good idea. Yeah, I mean, because I know we'll definitely tune in because we're not going out. So
right. And that's the thing with Omicron coming. I don't think people want to go out, so keep them at home, right?
Keep them at home. Let them drink safely.
Right.
Exactly. Dress up.
What we cannot do is we cannot get off here without me thanking you for being an inspiration to me as a DJ. We're talking about, and let's tell the story now. We're talking about a 13-year-old who, by the time he was 13, his parents broke up. We're talking about moving from apartment to apartment. You're talking about getting evicted. You're talking about can't keep the lights on because my mom didn't have enough money. And you're talking about a kid who who borrowed $100 from his grandfather, who had some Pioneer speakers and had a Sansui amp. Sansui. I had a Sansui amp. I went to Luskin's on Queens Chapel Road. Yes.
Luskin. Yeah.
I went to Luskin and bought a double cassette deck and some turntables or whatever. And that's what I did. That's what I did. And so I thank you for that inspiration. My first show was September 6th, 1986, a fashion show at my grandparents' church. And here we are.
Yeah,
you were in
like
that wonderful studio. And 30-some years later, I can't believe we're here. Like,
right.
It's like, we put in the work. Yeah. But it's like we wasn't supposed to be here, Miguel. It wasn't supposed to work that way.
Yeah, but the odds.
I got to also say that I appreciate you sending me information about your father's services.
Yeah.
We watched on Zoom. I printed, because I think you sent me a copy of the program. I printed it for my mother.
Yeah.
I think she watched the Zoom. And, it was wonderful to go out to the burial site with you folks and all that.
Yeah.
Via Zoom. Al, right?
Yeah.
You know what your father meant. He was a man's man. I see him cutting the grass. I mean, he was a man's man.
Right.
And we're talking about, with no disrespect to anyone, we're talking about a time where the man went out, made the money, mom was home, she took care of the kids, blah, blah, blah. Your father was someone who was really special, and I'm glad to have known him. I hadn't seen him in years and years and years, but Miguel,
he was still the same.
But good God, you look like your father. You look just like your father, boy. Goodness gracious.
I'm the last one. I'm the last one left, man. Everybody's gone.
I know your brother passed some time ago, right?
Yep, and my mom. Yep,
right.
Now my dad. Yeah, I'm it.
Yeah, but you're here, and you got a daughter who. So you're not it. You got your daughter.
Yeah. That's right. Yep, that's right.
So you're good. And there's a grandchild, right? Yeah, I was going to say there's a granddaughter. Yes. Yep. So keep the music going. I'm telling you, I'm doing this now because I want one or both of my kids to take this thing over. Because I didn't work this hard to send it away, Let
me ask you, do you still have your records?
Miguel?
Kurt, don't you do it. Don't.
eBay, Miguel. eBay.
No, you could have called. You could have been like, "Yo, just come get him." My wife would have killed me, but
at the beginning of this conversation, and you said I got my records over there. I'm like, oh, I had a bad feel. Miguel, we're talking Richard Pryor, the Beatles. We're talking Ohio Players. We're talking the original Thriller. All the hip hop. I need a beat. We're talking about Can't Live Without My Radio. We're talking about 5 minutes of funk. All of them, Miguel.
Yeah, you know what? I can go right over to my wall. Cause I can. I stopped buying records maybe in the early 2000s because I didn't have no place to put new records. I was digitally buying stuff, but I can go right here and I can go. I would buy a lot of my records from Waxy Maxis from Jason. Shout out to Jason, aka DJ Fire Steel. He was working at Waxy Maxis in Langley Park.
Park, that's what I was gonna say. Right.
Yeah, I would go there like every day. You could buy a single for either $1.99 or $3.33. I would go down there every day. Jason be like, "Yo, check this out." So I blame all the records on Jason.
What about the Wiz? I would go to the Wiz.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk down to the Wiz. I was down there going towards University of Maryland.
But they had one in DC, right?
Nah, there was one in Langley Park right there in Adelphi with
across the Foot Locker, right?
Yeah.
Right on the left-hand side as you go towards University of Maryland.
I would go there. I would go Waxy Maxis. And when I got older, I went to 12-inch down at DuPont Circle.
Oh, you don't know nothing about 12-inch. Come on,
you know what I mean?
Man.
Shout out to him, Sam the Man Burns. Rest in peace.
Sam the Man Burns. He's the one I would watch him play house music down there.
Yeah.
He had it all set up. But let me tell you something. The Wiz in Langley or in Adelphi was the first place I heard, okay, you're probably going to know because you're a music aficionado. That's the first time I ever heard Tribe Called Quest. What record were they playing in there?
They might have been playing. Were they playing? I Left My Wallet and El Segundo.
El Segundo. That's what they were playing. I'm like, who is this group? But they were playing I Left My Wallet and El Segundo. That's the first time I heard Tribe Called Quest. Let me ask you, this would be wild. Were you ever part of OMAP Record Pool?
Nah, I was a part of a record pool maybe in the mid to late 90s with Malcolm Freeney. Shout out to Malcolm.
Malcolm.
I would take the records and he would take the CDs because Malcolm and they would record in my parents' basement too. Shout out to Malcolm. Right. Shout out to Rico, Samson. So I was getting like Kurtis. I was getting like, it was ridiculous. I was getting like 200 records every Wednesday, man. I was nowhere to put them. I was like, oh, this is getting to be too much.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
I would get like 20, 25 records. It was OMAP Record Pool. It stood for Our Mid-Atlantic Pool. And that's the first place I got The Power by Chill Rob G. I don't consider Snap the one who made The Power. To me,
Chill Rob G. I don't like Snap. Chill Rob G is there. No. You're right.
Wasn't one of them in the military? Was it Chill Rob G in the military?
I think he might have been. I'm not exactly sure.
That's where I got that one from. I got The Music Ain't Loud Enough by DJ Kool. That's where I got that record from. I remember all those records. I lived on Fort Stevens Drive in D.C., not too far from the Ibex, actually, by Nativity Church. Yeah. That's where I lived. Yeah. And I would go to OMAP Record Pool down on Swan Street, Northwest D.C., pick up my crap. I had we all had it. I had my little cubby, would go get my records, and I can't even remember how much it was. It might have been like $70 a month, $50 a month. I don't know what it was. And then I would go over to 12-inch Dance Records right next to Burger King, see Sam the Man Burns. And it was intimidating to me at first. I didn't want to ever go in there because I'm like, this is where the real DJs go. And I don't know if I'm ready for that.
It's not a joke. Yeah, no, it was real, Kurtis. Yeah, you know what I mean? It was real. I knew Sam
but Waxy Maxis, and where'd you know him from? Yeah,
because in the early 90s, we used to record in the same studio.
Okay.
Right. Over at Backbeat Studios with George Mitchell. George Mitchell was in College Park, and Sam used to always be there. Then I would see him at the record store, and I would always see him at the club. So, that's how I knew Sam. Yeah.
Right. Okay, I know Sam the Man Burns, and wow, you're taking us down memory lane. But yes, I Left My Wallet, and El Segundo was the first song I ever heard. First song I ever played in my life was Do It Till You're Satisfied by BT Express.
Oh, yeah.
First song I ever played.
There was a lot of samples on that album. We used to run through that album with samples. I think a lot of the EPMD sampled. So What You're Saying was from that album, Third Base. I can talk about samples all day, but it's BT Express, that album.
I was across the street at 9201 in that basement. That's the first time I put a needle on a record was Do It Till You're Satisfied by BT Express. The first album I bought was Rod Stewart Do You Think I'm Sexy or something. I got
Yeah,
my
yeah,
$5.99 or whatever it was. We went to Waxy Maxi's, Kent Mill Records.
Kent Mill Records. Yep.
Right down University on right before you get to New Hampshire and all that stuff. And you didn't know this. My mother was in a commercial for Kent Mill Records.
Oh, you still? I bet it's on YouTube somewhere.
She had a hammer, and it was Kent Mill Records breaks its own record. She had to break a record on the turntable with a hammer. Yes,
I bet
my
you
mom
it's
was
on
in that
YouTube.
commercial. I bet you it is. Miguel, we did say we would do this the second time. Hey, man, I want to thank you. I want to thank your parents because they raised you and your brother. I want to thank you for not laughing a chubby kid out of your basement who saw what you did and wanted to do it, who still can't do what you do, but I found another path in music.
Right, exactly. I can't do what you do. Yeah.
Right.
I'm so glad that you had me on here, man. This is great. Who'd have thought?
Right. We're talking about carrying records, and now we're podcasting on StreamYard, right?
Exactly. How about that?
Yeah,
it's
man.
Still looking good.
That's all we do. We don't know how to do nothing else, Miguel.
That's right. You know what I mean? You got to, still got to look good. You know what I mean?
I got to try. Well, I'm wearing this hat because I haven't got my hair cut in a while, so I don't want you to see all the gray.
I'm doing the same thing. You know what I mean? I'm into the barber.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to have to get to the barber. Miguel, hold on a second. I'm going to put you backstage while I exit the show. Okay. And then I'll join you in just 1 second. Let me get this thing together because I got a board here and I got to give my man his applause. Ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all to know who this is. This is Miguel Richardson. Oh, Miguel, no, we cannot go. Tell people how to find you on social media. They need to connect with you.
They can find me on social media at Moods Vibrations, MOODS VIBRATIONS. That's on IG. You can search me. You can find me there. You can find me. You can search all your streaming platforms. You can type in Moods and Vibrations or MDS, VBS. You'll find my work on there. A lot of it. So yeah.
Connect with this man. If you into the music, connect with this man. Wow. Thanks for joining me today.
I got a Run DMC story, Kurtis.
Oh, please tell it. Come on now. We got time.
We did it. It was a song we had with my man Jamel Jones, aka Chico's son. He's from Hollis, New York. We did a song. The song's called Hollis, New York, and he knows Run and all them because I think they lived on the same street, but I think Run's sister used to babysit him, I believe. So Run heard the song that we did, and then they were like, we want to use it for our album. So they flew us up to New York. It was supposed to be for their Crown Royal album. We went up there. It was the best thing I ever did. A studio session with Run DMC, Kurtis. This was 1999 January. It's during the ice storm. No power. I had to go around the corner to Greg's house because they had power. I took my equipment. I said I need to make some backup discs before I go, get on this plane. So in case something gets erased, I'm all right. So I did that, and we went up there, man. It was, going in there was like going to Fort Knox, because I think Wyclef was in there that day in another room. Nas was there, I believe. It was crazy. So we going there. I'm like, damn, waiting on them, and they come in, and they are exactly how you think they are. DMC is exact, and Run is exactly how you see him on Run's house.
Right.
It's exactly the same. Him and Jam Master Jay, very down to earth. This was like a little bit before he got killed. So we just sitting there talking, we're putting music down, talking with Jam Master Jay about equipment, and these are like guys who I, always looked up to. I'm like, damn, this is Run DMC. I'm listening to DMC sitting there drinking Diet Coke and Run, and then we're talking about, they do so much shows. They were doing like, out of 30 days, out of a month, they would do at least like 20, 25 shows a month. Right. And they were getting like, I think 100 a show, 100,000, split that up. That's so much. Yeah. Run's got his, he's got their T-shirt money in his pocket, and it's more than my salary. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it was like the best experience. But then, the song didn't end up getting released. I still have the song. I'm gonna email it to you. You can check it out. But it was just I did the beat, and Jamel did the vocals, and then DMC did some vocals. I'll send it to you. I think I'm trying to talk to Jamel. He's trying to do a video for it, maybe. But it's from the song's from like 1998. I think we recorded it. But yeah, that was great, man. It's Run DMC, man.
And when they came back with Down with the King, I actually feel like when Down with the King came out, I feel like I was somewhere and I heard you mixing it, and that brought me back to the fact that you were the original guy that I saw. You did something. I think it was you. I don't know why that. When they came back with Down with the King, and I'm like, wow, they're doing it again. And that, to me, that was as tough as any of their other songs. To me,
right? Yeah,
because the time had, in theory, passed them by, and they still came out.
They were
like
able to come back.
Right.
They struck lightning again.
Yeah, they did. They absolutely did. But now, Run DMC Pioneers, I mean, the reason why we're hearing some of what we're hearing today is because they got together with Aerosmith. They put together this album. You got Peter Piper. You got, I don't need to tell you, You Be Illin', all of that. And they came out in a different sort of way, and it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
And shout out to, you know who's a monster, who I don't think gets the credit? Rick Rubin is a monster. He's a straight monster.
Yeah. Yep. Somebody who can exist in all these different genres of music and produce.
Right.
It's crazy. You know.
He did Beastie Boys from his college dorm, didn't he?
Yeah, he did Beastie Boys, and I think one of the guys from the Beastie Boys produced that. They started Def Jam from the dorm at NYU.
Are you serious right now? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was an NYU dorm. That room.
Yeah, it was. Well, there they go. Yep. There they go. Hold on, Miguel. I'm going to put you backstage. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miguel. Find him on social media. If you can't find him on social media, hit me up. I'll get you to him. Miguel Richardson, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right. Hold on for a second, Miguel. Ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for, I'm telling you, you guys do not recognize what we just did there. That is Miguel. He's the reason. If you've enjoyed any of my parties over the years, it's because that guy right there gave me someone to look at when it was time for me to become a DJ and decide what I wanted to do. It was that guy right there who I looked at. Anyway, guys, look, get with me on social media at Kurtis Talks on Instagram and Twitter, www.kurtistalks.com. You can also email me with podcast ideas, and if you'd like to be a guest or know of someone who should join the conversation, just send an email to kurtisandpaula@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out our podcast family, The Kurtis and Paula Show, Take It to Yo with Turner and O'Neill, and of course, The Midnight Truck Stop and 911 Radio. You'll find our family of podcasts just about anywhere you get our podcast content. Thanks for joining the conversation today. Feel free to spread the word, and as always, thank you, Khadijah. We'll see you next time.
Crosstalk, Conversations with Kurtis can be heard on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Music, and just about anywhere podcasts can be found.
From Washington, D.C. to Ocean City, Woodbridge to Columbia, Richmond to Virginia Beach, the hottest DJs are right here. The Mid-Atlantic Professional DJ Association.
Dynamic DJ Entertainment, the most experienced professional DJ service in the DMV. For 35 years, our DJ talent has been the energy behind more than 14,000 events. If you're planning your wedding, school dance, corporate event, Sweet 16, or any event, our talented team has the right mix of music and MC skills to bring the energy and turn any event into an epic event. In 35 years, our DJs have performed in front of more than 2 million guests in 26 states. Our services include dynamic DJ talent, karaoke, giant games, atmospheric effects, movie nights, and more. Contact us today and let's make your next event an epic event. Dynamic DJ Entertainment. Visit thepartybeginsnow.com or call 301-942-4500 to get the party started.